Hare Krishna. Hello friends, how are you all doing? I hope you all are doing well. This is Ritendra, I am preacher of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, and today is very special lecture. Today I am going to talk about neurodegenerative disorder, and on the basis of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, how to overcome and how to get the remedies from the Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. Each and every verse of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, how to give a remedy in order to fight against the neurodegenerative disorder. So, before I start my lecture, I would like to introduce Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is written by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Mahaprabhupada from ISKCON temple. And I would have to say, Srimad Bhagavad Gita is neither religious book nor spiritual book, but in true sense, is pure book of science and humanity. I am trying to propagate a humanity on the basis of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and trying to morally motivate to those people who are actually frustrated and attempted to commit suicide on the basis of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we don't have to consider Srimad Bhagavad Gita as a religious book. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a pure book of the science and humanity. I'm only trying to propagate a humanity because we can learn art of living from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So let's get into neurodegenerative disorder, and then I will try to link neurodegenerative disorder and its causes with Srimad Bhagavad Gita. There is a one hypothesis in which there are mentioned several diversity and several causes behind the neurodegenerative disorder. The hypothesis is based on seven main propositions. Neurodegenerative disease is associated with a multiple risk factor. First risk is age is the most important risk factor. First risk is age. Age is the most risk factor. Second one is aging differentially affected neuroanatomical pathway. Neuroanatomical pathway. Actually, I am using a scientific and also anatomical terms, but actually I must have to use it because in order to make all of you understand, I must have to use scientific word. And degenerative of this pathway result in the formation of the pathogenic protein. The pathogenic protein cannot be passed away from the particular neurons. Actually, neurons, the basic structure of the neurons is only protein, and also other material and other cells are there. But actually, main ATP is also working. ADP and also ATP. In order to provide the energy of the particular neuron, in order to get a transmission from the one cell to the another cell. And the pathogenic proteins are spread along the anatomical pathway. The phenotypes of the familial and sporadic forms of the disease are similar. And neurodegenerative disease is characterized by the heterogeneity, overlapping phenotypes, and also multiple pathology. Multiple pathology is a main cause. So many causes are there. But neurodegenerative disorder or neurodegenerations are caused by progressive loss of the structure or the function of the neurons. Actually, gradually neuron loses its function and also their structure. And because of the disfiguration of the structure of the neurons are unable to transfer particular signal. And because of this thing, the various disorder like Alzheimer, Parkinson disorder, Parkinson disorder, Huntington disease, and also multiple sclerosis, and also other lateral sclerosis are there, which actually directly related with the brain, and also Batten disease. Batten disease also one among the particular listed out in the neurodegenerative disorders classification. So we have to understand before we get into the particular disease and what will happen in the Parkinson disorder, Huntington disorder, we just have to understand the actual function of the particular neuron. The actual function of the neuron is a transmission of the signal from the one cell to the another cell, and by which this kind of the particular transmission the cell can get the cell or the particular through the cell. Actually, mind will definitely function according to the particular signal and sending the signal and receiving the signal. Because if we are touching with a hot cup or with to the hot cup, then we will get a hot and also warmness, and this particular warmness will definitely signal our brain, and brain will definitely revert to overhand ourselves, to lift your hand and also keep your hand far away from the hot thing. So these things we have to understand. This kind of signal we have to understand. Let's get into Parkinson disorder. Parkinson disease is the second most common neurodegenerative disorder and typically manifests as a bradykinesia and rigidity and resting the tremor and also posture instability. Instability. Actually, what is the main cause for the disfigurations of the neuron structure as well as neuron function? The main cause behind the neuron disfiguration of the neuron structure and neuron functions are only our anxiety, only our depressions, only our stress, and only our age-related factors. Means it's directly and indirectly depend upon our lifestyle. So what we are eating, how we are sleeping. So we have to regulate ourselves in a sleeping and waking cycle, as well as we have to regulate. We have to be regular. We have to take a balanced diet. Otherwise, this kind of disorders are being seen in the human being, in our society, because of our lifestyle. Even Lord Krishna stated in Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, the person who is eating very less, listen it very carefully, the person who is eating very less and the person who is eating too much and the person who is sleeping too late, too means not enough, and the particular who is sleeping too much, that particular person will never become yogi, and that particular person will never get a supreme abode of Lord Krishna. In order to become yogi, in order to get a stability of our mind, we have to regulate. We have to keep a balance in our sleeping and waking cycle, and also in our eating means in our diet. So this is what Lord Krishna stated. Lord Krishna further stated in verse number 6, chapter number 6, in a Dhyan Yoga, Krishna Vasudeva Madhusudan Mukunda Murari Kesava Janardana Govind, here stated, Lord Krishna here stated, बंधुर आत्मान तस्य एन आत्मनः जितः, बंधुर आत्मान तस्य एन आत्मान जितः, अनात्मत शत्रु वर्ते, अनात्मत शत्रु वर्ते वर्तमेव शत्रु वर्त, अनात्मेव शत्रु वर्ते वर्तमेव शत्रु वर्तः. For him who has conquered his mind, Lord Krishna directly here stated, for him who has conquered his mind, the mind is best friend. But the person who has failed to do so, his very mind is greatest enemy of that particular person. Lord Krishna here directly stated to Arjuna, here Madhav stated, Parth, Pruthaputra Arjun, the person who has conquered his mind is greatest friend. But the person who has failed to do so, his very mind is greatest enemy of the particular person. And Lord Krishna further stated, Chitatmanah prasantasya paramatmah samhitah. Chitatmanah prasantasya paramatma samhitah. Sitosna sukh dukhesu tata man apman yoha. Sitosna sukh dukhesu tata man apman yoha. Here Krishna Madhusudan Mukunda Murari Kesava Janardana Govind Vasudev. Here Govardhana stated, one who has conquered his mind, one who has conquered his mind, the super soul is already reached, the particular person who has already reached super soul, and for him he has attained the supreme tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, and honor and dishonor, all are same. So here Krishna stated, whenever we started to niskam karma, to perform our duty without keeping any expectation, then only we can protect ourselves from this kind of neurodegenerative disorder, because our expectation and desire only are responsible for depression, for getting a trace. So whenever we try to keep ourselves far away from the trace, we have to execute our duty without keeping any expectation. We have to execute our karma without getting any kind of attachment. Lord Krishna further stated, नियतम कुरु कर्म त्वाम कर्म जाया ही अकर्मणः शरीर यत्र पिचते न परिशद्यते न तु अकर्मणः. यह कृष्णा मधुसूदन मुकुंदा मुरारी केशवा हियर स्टेटेड, नियतम कुरु कर्म त्वाम कर्म जाया ही अकर्मणः शरीर यत्र पिचते न परिशद्यते न तु अकर्मणः. यह कृष्णा स्टेटेड, परफॉर्म योर प्रिस्क्राइब्ड ड्यूटी. Krishna directly stated to Arjuna, perform your prescribed duty, Arjun. Working is better than not working, and working is better than not working, and no one can maintain his or her physical body without performing his duty. In order to keep ourselves far away from the neurodegenerative disorder, we have to keep functioning, we have to perform our duty, we have to execute our duty, and we have to keep ourselves in niskam karma, we have to be niskam karma yogi. Then only we can keep ourselves far away from this kind of neurodegenerative disorder. Lord Krishna further stated in verse number 56, chapter number 2. Verse number 56, chapter number 2. Here Lord Krishna stated, here Lord Bhagwan Uvachah. Here Krishna stated, Dukhesu anuvigdha manah, Sukhesu vigatas vitaraga bhaya krodha, Sita dhir munir uchyate, vitaraga bhaya krodha, Sita dhir munir uchyate. Here Krishna stated, the person who is not disturbed in the mind, the person who is not disturbed in mind, even if amidst the threefold of the miseries, are elated when there is a happiness, and the person who is not elated when there is a happiness, and who is free from the attachment, fear and anger. The particular person who is free from the attachment, fear and anger, only this kind of person is known as a sage of the steady mind. And the particular person, the yogi, the particular person who is a sage of the steady mind, this particular person will never get neurodegenerative disorder, something like Alzheimer, Parkinson disorder, Huntington disorder, Barrett disease, or many diseases, or lateral sclerosis. Many disorders are there which are classified under neurodegenerative disorder, because our trace, our expectation and our lifestyle, and these all things are only and only responsible for this kind of the disorder, only and only causes for this kind of disorder. So we just have to keep ourselves far away from this particular trace and depression, and also we don't have to keep any kind of expectation with our karma, but we are unable to do so, and our lifestyle and also age related factors are only responsible for this particular disease. So we just have to think about these all things, and Krishna here stated how to control our mind in order to prevent ourselves free from the particular neurodegenerative disorder. Lord Krishna stated in chapter number 3, Karma Yoga. Here Krishna directly stated, Tasmad Indriyani Adu Niyamya Bharat Varsah Papa Prajahiyena Jnana Vijnana Nasanam. Here Krishna stated only our desire and expectations are responsible for this particular disorder, for the depression and for the anxiety, which is directly related with the Alzheimer. Here Krishna stated to Arjuna, when Arjuna asked to Lord Krishna, here Arjuna uvacha atha kena prayukta papa charita purusha anichanapi varsaniya baladivanyojita anichanapi. Even if I don't have a desire to perform a particular action, particular inhuman action, even if something which one is forcing me to execute the particular action which is considered as a inhuman. So what is that force? अथ केन प्रयुक्त पाप चरित पुरुषः अनिच्छनापि वार्षाण्य बलादिवानियोजितः अनिच्छनापि वार्षाण्य बलादिवानियोजितः. यह कृष्णा वासुदेव मधुसूदन मुकुंदा मुरारी केशव जनार्दन गोविंद गोवर्धन. यह कृष्णा stated. Here Krishna stated, and Arjuna here asked to Lord Krishna, what is that force which forcing me, which pressurized me to execute inhuman activities? Atha kena prayukta papa charita purusha anichanapi baladivanyojita. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Krishna Vasudev Uvacha Kama Isha Krodha Isha Rajo Guna Samruddha. Here Krishna stated Kama Isha Krodha Isha Rajo Guna Samruddha Mahasano Mahapapyo Vignanyam Varina Mahasano Mahapapyo Vignanyam Varina. Here Krishna Madhusudan Mukunda Kesava Janardhan. Here Krishna stated Kama Isha Krodha Isha Rajo Guna Samruddha Mahasano Mahapapyo Vignanyam Varinaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is a lust only, it is only desire, it's only expectation. It's only desire, it's only your expectation, it's only your lust. Arjun, which born of the contact with a material mode of the passion, Rajo Guna Samruddha, our desire and our expectation is reached with is particular enriched with a lust, enriched with a Rajo Guna, the material mode of the passion, and later transformed into the breath, and it is all devouring sinful enemy of this particular word. This particular lust, our desire and our expectations is only and only sinful enemy, is our biggest enemy. This is what Lord Krishna stated. Lord Krishna further stated, Dhumrena vriyatah brahidva ya darshano मलेन चह यथो बलेना वृत्तो गर्भस्थः तेने द आवृतम. Krishna stated, as a fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the worm, the living entity similarly covered by the different degree of the lust. Living entity similarly covered by the different degree of the lust. Lord Krishna further stated, आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेनो ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणं कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूर्णे अनिलेन च. कामरूपेण कौन्तेय. हे अर्जुन, हे परंतप, हे पृथपुत्र, हे पार्थ सारथी, मैं कृष्णा बात कर रहा हूँ. आवृतम ज्ञान में तेनो ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिण काम रूपेण कौन्तेय. अर्जुन, काम रूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूर्णे अनिलेन च. Here Krishna stated, the wise living entity's pure consciousness become covered by his eternal enemy in the form of the lust, in the form of the desire, in the form of the expectation. Our consciousness, which will be covered by our desire and by our expectation. So whenever we are having a desire, we are unable to satisfy. The desires will never be satisfied. The expectation will never be satisfied, because expectation took a birth in our mind. Actually, expectation generated in our mind, and the particular thing which is generated in our mind, which never be satisfied. However, I am having a strong willingness to satisfy someone's desire, my beloved person desire, but I will definitely fail to do so, because our desire and expectations are dynamic. It will definitely change with the due course of the time. So expectation and desire are never be satisfied. And Krishna further said, it burned like a fire, our desire and our expectations which burn like a fire. Lord Krishna further stated, Indriyani manobuddhira adhishtanam uchyate eter vimohate esha jnana avratam dehina eter vimohate esha jnana avratam dehina. Here Krishna stated, the senses, the mind and intelligence are the sitting place of our desire, of the lust or our expectation. The senses, actually desire actually took over from the senses. It will sense, our senses signaling to our mind, and our intelligence will make a schedule or create a plan to fulfill our desire or unfulfilled desire, actually unsatisfied desire. In order to satisfy our desire, our intelligence will definitely create a plan, frame the plan in order to complete our willingness, our desire, our expectation. The senses, the mind and intelligence. This is a neuropsychological theory Lord Krishna here mentioned in chapter number 3. The Krishna stated, the senses, the mind and intelligence. Krishna here stated, the senses, mind and intelligence are the sitting place of the lust. Through them, the lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilder him or bewilder to all of us. The lust cover the real knowledge of living entity, our self-realization. It will cover our self-realization. So desire, our senses, mind and intelligence are setting place. What is the location of our desire? So here Lord Krishna directly stated to Arjuna, Lord Krishna here located the actual place of our desire. Our desire, our expectation, our lust is situated in the senses, mind and intelligence. Lord Krishna further stated, once you located your real enemy, then what you have to do? You have to attack on your enemy. So how to attack on your enemy? Lord Krishna here stated, verse number 41, chapter number 3, Karma Yoga. Here Krishna stated, Tasmad Indriyani Adu Niyamya Bharat Varsah Pap Prajahi Ena Jnana Vijnana Nasanam Pap Prajahi Ena Jnana Vijnana Nasanam. Tasmad, immediately what you have to do? Therefore, immediately what you have to Tasmada Indriyani Adu, regulate your senses by your regulatory organs or sensory organs. You have to regulate your senses by your sensory organs, because the sensory organs and five senses are there. You have to regulate your eyes, you have to regulate your mouth, you have to regulate your ear, you have to regulate your hand, and you have to regulate your nose. And five senses are there. What you have to sniff, what you have to see, and what you have to speak, and what you have to hear, and what you have to touch. You have to regulate. Once you regulate, because we can't control our senses. We can only regulate, because something like a fan, up and down, up and down. So we can only regulate our senses by our sensory organs. Once we started to regulate our senses by our sensory organs, our mind can be controlled. And once our mind can be controlled, then our intelligence can be controlled. And once our intelligence has been controlled, our soul will definitely be under control, or be in control or under control. So we will surely get the self-realization if our intelligence is very steady. So the particular person who has a steady intelligence will never face this kind of particular disorder in his or her life. I hope you all can understand. If you are having any questions, any doubt, then please kindly put a comment. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Jai Sri Radhe, Hari Bol.